A clean book, broadly speaking, is one that doesn't contain graphic violence, explicit sex, or coarse language. It's reasonable people may want to avoid those things. But here's the problem that I am facing. In fantasy and in science fiction, clean is generally used to describe YA books, or books that are suitable for a wide age range of readers. I absolutely do not write YA. At one time I did, so I understand if there is confusion, but I haven't for a long while. My target audience is adults, typically 20 to 30-year-olds. This isn't to say that I'm writing any content akin to ACOTAR, because I'm not, or that mature teens can't read my books. They absolutely can. However, the topics and themes that I tackle in my stories aren't always easy or digestible. They can't and shouldn't be toned down in order to be palatable for everyone. I take considerable care in how I handle these tough themes and topics, which again are best suited for adults. Let's also remember that an individual's content preferences are subjective and can vary widely. For some, heavy violence is okay, but passionate kissing goes too far. For others, it might be the complete opposite. I would hate to catch someone off guard if my limits and their limits don't align. Don't get me wrong though. I appreciate books suitable for all ages. But I also appreciate books written for specific demographics, like for me, a 31-year-old adult, who would like to see these kind of heavy themes handled directly within the story, minus all the tiptoeing. My goal is to write honest, realistic, and intellectual stories that shine light in the darkest corners while giving the story the space it needs to breathe and become what it needs to become. I don't know what your limits are, but what I can do to help you is to be transparent with what I write. So what can you expect from my books? Regarding violence, in my opinion, I don't write gratuitous violence, but I have had at least one reader say that a certain scene in Unravel was too much for them. Listen, sometimes things get dark. Sometimes they get very dark. I never linger too long on violence, and I try to be light-handed about it. What you'll find in my books is what my own personal comfort level is. I refuse to pretend the road is easy. My stories are ones of perseverance, resilience, and redemption. And sometimes that requires seeing how dark it got for the characters. Now, regarding spice, I don't write spice, whatever that means nowadays. The romantic content in my stories will be more steamy than spicy. Think steamy kisses, fade to black, and implied intimacy. There will also be innuendos, even some jokes from raunchy characters occasionally. I mean, sex jokes are hilarious, come on. But I do close the door, eventually. Again, steamy kissing. So what about language? Well, I hate to break it to you, but shit happens. And sometimes, given the character and context, the only word to describe it is with what word they would use. Rest assured, I don't sprinkle explicitives around like confetti, but if the need does arise, I will use them. I try to use coarse language sparingly as a tool for storytelling. I'd also like to make a side note here that some people find some words more coarse than others. For example, to me, hell and damn are not cuss words, but there are people that would disagree with me. Are they vulgar? Sure, I guess, depending on how you would use them, but they aren't cuss words, in my humble opinion. I hope that gives you a better understanding of what I write. I think there's space for all of us, for clean books, for spicy books, and for those in the middle, like me. I like to write as realistic as possible, so I don't label my books as clean. Because if I washed my books and made them clean, a lot of meaning gets lost and the story would have lost the entire point. If you want the official content advisory for my books, you can find them on my website on each book's product pages, CaitlinDeanne.com.